Hi everybody, it's Amy, also known as Aussie Stitcher in Texas, here on Flosstube and over on Instagram. I'm here with you today on December 1st with Flosstube update number 43. So I wanted to say a big thank you to all of my returning viewers and subscribers. Thank you so much for coming back month after month to watch me ramble on about what I've done for the previous month. So like I said, this is Flosstube number 43. We'll be going through everything that I stitched on in the month of November. So November has come to a close. It is December 1st. I can't believe, I mean, everybody I feel like says this. I can't believe how fast the year has gone, but time does what it does. And let's jump right into it. So for November, I stitched 14,550 stitches. I didn't have any stitching for basically the last 4 or 5 days of the month because I was traveling and it just wasn't conducive to stitching at all. But I hope everybody in the US who celebrates Thanksgiving, I hope you had a fantastic Thanksgiving. I had a good one, even if it was cold where I was. And it's cold here in Texas now, so I can't really seem to escape it for the moment. But let's start with my projects. So I had 2 finishes this month, 1 fully finish, 1 just regular finish. I haven't fully finished it yet. 1 new start, and then worked on an additional 5 projects. So it was 8 projects in total that I worked on. 2 were finishes, 1 a new start, and then 5 just regular projects that I had in the whip pile already. So let's start with the fully finish. So anybody who has been watching my last videos recently, you'll know that I had a focus on a finish this year, which was to finish my Faces of Faery 193 by Jasmine Beckett Griffith, which is charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. I'll pop up what it looked like the last time that you saw it. So I had the goal of finishing this year. So I had a certain amount of stitches that I had to stitch on every month in order to see that achievement. I actually finished 1 month early, which is great. So this month I did 1,764 stitches to see that finish. So here she is, and please don't judge my framing. I framed this myself and I'm fine with it. So that's really all that matters. So trying to not have too much glare. That's probably the best we're gonna get. As you can see, my fridge. But yeah, she's all finished. Yes, you can see it's not a perfect frame, but I am okay with it. This is stitched on a 16 count aida in, it was an easy grid. I washed the grid out and I used all the called for DMC colors. So this took me, I can't remember, I'll flash on the screen when I started this, but it wasn't last year, I believe it was the year before. So, but she is finished now. My second oldest piece, I think she was. All done. Yay, that's another one. And I have her companion piece all finished as well. I believe I showed that fully finished last month. So if you want to see that, you can jump back in my videos and watch that one. Then my second finish was by VladaXStitch. I call this one Night Bee. It doesn't have a name on her site, and when you get the PDF, it's just a bunch of numbers and letters. So I'm just calling it Night Bee. Here is where it was the last time that you saw it. I stitched this on an 18 count aida, just a white aida, using all the called for DMC. And here is the finish. So this, I love the blues and the oranges. I did make a couple of modifications only because I think there were a few errors in the chart. Like here, there was a random line of blue, which I just didn't think was, I think it was meant to be the gray. So I changed that to the gray. So I did that. There was a couple of stitches in black just here that again seemed really random to be there, so I didn't do those. And then up in the blue sections, kind of, I can't remember exactly where, but there would be like a random color of the dark purple, which didn't match anything around it. So I smoothed it out and used one of the surrounding colors to stitch. But other than that, this is as called for. Nice and bright. No idea what I'm going to do for that finish. As per usual with a lot of my finishes, it's going to just get hung up in my closet on some like trouser hangers to keep them all nice and flat and straight. Okay, so those are the finishes, the 2 finishes that I have. I think that's brought me up to about 7 for the year, which is not bad. I have had a lot of bigger projects this year, so I'm not getting as many finishes as I did in 2024. but the ones I have been finishing have been big, so very happy about that. So moving into my new start, I have had this one for a little bit. I shouldn't say a little bit, a couple of months, but I decided to give it a start. It is a Plum Street Sampler, Winter Moon. I have made some modifications to this, one being, I suppose it's not really a modification, but I'm using the called for, the DMC conversion that they provide versus using the Weeks Dye Works. All Classic Colorworks. So it uses a bit of both and DMC, but I'm using all DMC for this. And then I have charted out the rabbit. So I'm not doing that rabbit. I just like smoothed out the moon so it comes around, and then in that empty space I just added some more snowflakes. But the rest of it is as called for using the DMC conversion. I am stitching this on a 36 count linen. Now I normally don't like to use linen, but I had it in my stash and I liked the color and I want to use it. I don't want it to go to waste. It is a 36 count linen in the color Ceres by Under the Sea Fabrics. I used to be in her Fabric of the Month club, so it's one of those. And I stitched on this for 1,931 stitches. Normally I like to get 2,000 stitches when I start something, but this is bang on 10%. So 10.00% is what it is. So I just thought that was a fun place to stop. So here's where we're at. So these two colors are kind of very similar. So had I been more intelligent, I maybe would have bumped up one of these, because one of these I'm already finished with. So I would have bumped up one of them or down just to change it up a little bit to give it a bit more definition. But you can see it better on camera than you can in person, the color definition. And then started over here. I've never stitched a house before, and I can kind of see why people like it. Because these bricks, these are fun, and look how good it looks. Let me get this out of the way. How cool does that look? So I'm looking forward to stitching the rest of the house. I'll probably be very over it by the time I'm done because it's a pretty big house, but I'm loving the effect. Absolutely love the effect. And I really like how, yes, this is a much darker, I mean, they're going for more of a beige, and I went for this dark moody fabric, but I just thought the white would pop really well on this, and I think it is. And you know, it's a winter's day, depending on where you live. Sometimes this is what winter looks like, gray and gloomy, but with pops of blue. So yeah, happy about that. Happy how that's moving along. I have no plans to like have a finish on that or anything. That's just going to be a stitch as we stitch kind of thing. And then in this house, we put things away as we go. Otherwise it is a nightmare at the end. So next up is one of my WIPGO calls for last month. It was to work on my Quaker flat, for 2,000 stitches. I worked on it for 2,176 stitches. Here's what it looks like the last time that you saw it. I am stitching this on a 40 count Verdal just in white, and I am using CXC. I did change up the colors a little bit. So here we go. Ooh. So which is it? So the 939 is the 939. So that's all the blue you see in between the squares, the diamonds. The red I bumped up using Holly, the Cross Stitch Addicts. Basically it's her. I stole from her. This is not original by me. So it's 9, actually no, this is the called for red, I believe. But then the blue is 3 something. Can't remember which one it is, 336 maybe? Because the called for blue was more of a bluey gray. And I wanted more of a blue. I liked it with the blue. So yeah, so worked over on this side with more red and gray. That's also a change too. The gray is 01. The called for, I believe, is 712, which would have I mean, this ghosts a little bit, but 712 would have disappeared completely on here. Very happy about that. It is coming along nicely. And the CXC is very nice to work with on this piece. Just one strand, 2 over 1, 2 over 1? Yes, on 40 count. No. 1 over 2. 1 over 2. Oh, Flosstube itchy nose. Okay, Next up is another one of my monthly pieces, and that is Alternative Reality by Josephine Wall, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. This is what it will look like when it's finished. I stitch on this every month for a minimum of 2,000 stitches with the hope of seeing it in a completion in 5 years, which will be, I'm about halfway through, so in, what's next year, 2026? So hopefully by the end of 2027, I will have this finished. That is the goal. Here's what it looked like the last time that you saw it. I am stitching this on an 18 count Aida easy guide, and I was parking. I am no longer parking. I am doing royal rows, but I'm not parking my threads. I am finishing those threads out. So I'm in the process of working through where I have parked, working those in, because I've decided I don't want to park anymore. So here, I'm gonna bring her back. Here's where we're at. So I lean to the side. So that dress is a ton of confetti, but looks absolutely beautiful. It is not the colors you would think, or at least not that I would think. I thought it was gonna be a lot of pinks and purples, maybe some light blues. And while there are some of those in there, it's actually a lot of like the 386 series. So we're getting close. So I don't know if you can tell, and some reds. So it's just very interesting that just because it looks a certain color on a picture, that's not what ends up getting stitched to create the effect of the picture. So I'm very happy with this and the process that the progress that it is getting. Ooh, looks so good on camera. Can't stop staring at it. But that is an ongoing piece. And like I said, I am working the threads in. I no longer want to park. I'm just finding, and whether it is or it isn't, it feels faster to not be parking, to just finish out that thread and let it go. Now I will park, potentially. I'm not completely closed to the idea of parking. I will park if it's like a super confetti piece, or I've got nowhere to anchor some stitches. I may just park that thread, but we'll see as we go. Next up is my other WIPGO piece for last month, which was to work on a Cottage Garden Samplings for 1,000 stitches. Sorry, I should say for Alternative Reality, I did 2,025 stitches. For this one, this is the Pirate by Cottage Garden Samplings. The WIPGO call was to work on it for 1,000 stitches, and I worked on it for 1,132. Here's what it will look like the last time that you saw it. I am stitching this on a 32 count lugana in the color Proserpina from Under the Sea Fabrics. Here's where we're up to. So I started in, this ship is pretty much done, I believe. And then working on the big ship down here. I don't know why my voice went really high just then. And just then as well. So this, I love working on this piece. It is a nice relaxing stitch, and a 32 count lugana is really my happy place. It is not too small to see. It is not too big that I feel like I'm, going to have a giant piece or just waste floss. I shouldn't say waste, but go through more floss like you do on a 28 count. It is very much my happy place, I've decided. And it just feels, I love the feel of working on a 32 count lugana. It just feels nice from there. So my second to last piece that we worked on, if I can find where this goes, is Persephone by Mirabilia. So here is what she will look like when it's finished. I am not stitching the background. So all of this, I'm not doing. I'm only stitching her. And I have, I don't know, I'll ask your opinion. Here's what it looked like the last time that you saw it. I stitched on this for a couple of days and got 2,234 stitches. And here is where we are up to. So I worked a lot more in the dress, because that's where I'm up to at this point. It's just gonna be dress, dress, dress. A lot of the white has worked through and some of the blue. So we're just gonna be in dress at this point. Now, what I am considering, this has a lot of beading, especially in her dress. And I'm a little worried about the weight of that. I know people have stitched this before with all the beads, and if anybody has, let me know your opinion if it does add a lot of weight. So I'm contemplating switching out some of the beads, not all of them, for maybe a Krynic or a Petite Treasure braid, just to avoid that concern I'm having of the weight of all of these beads. So let me know your opinions. Also, I don't love beading. Like, I really don't like beading. So if I can minimize some of the beading where, you know, in some places, I may do that to make my life easier. Oddly, I have no problem stitching with Krynic. It does not bother me. I just do short lengths and accept that it's going to fray and, you know, stop using it when it does, you know, throw out that piece when it does. So yeah, it doesn't bother me to use Krynic. But I think she's so pretty. All the back stitches done on her, like body and face. And then yeah, it's really just stitches and beads, potentially subbing out for some Krynic or Petite Treasure braid. I just need to make sure I pick the right colors. So I don't know if I'll try to find an LNS to go to be able to like look at those beads in person versus, you know, on a computer screen, and then hold it up against a Petite Treasure braid or Krynic to get a good match. But that is kind of the direction I'm leaning at the moment. I can still stitch everything else, and if need be, come back to, because I mean that's what I would have done with beading anyway, is stitch all the floss and then come back for beads. And this has no Krynic in it. It has no Krynic, and because I removed the background, it has no fancy floss. So I could use a fancy floss. I really only like to use those kinds of flosses if it's in a big enough chunk that it's going to be worth it to see. If it's one stitch here and one stitch here and one stitch here and one stitch here, you're not seeing the variegation. So I probably wouldn't do it. I'd have to look exactly to see where all those stitches are to be able to see if it's worth using a silk or something, or if I just put a Krynic in and have some sparkle to her. So we shall see. Okay, and the last piece that I worked on for the month, unintentionally, I did intend to work on more, but like I said, I was traveling and it just didn't happen. So the last one I worked on is Deadly Aquarium by Lola Crow. This was a stitch along a couple of years ago, not this year, I think last year. I did not work on it as a stitch along. I wait until stitch alongs are finished before I will purchase, purely because I've been burned with stitch alongs before, where I get caught up in the hype and then end up just not loving the piece and either finishing it just because I feel like I should finish it because I paid for it, or just completely UFOing it. So I now wait until stitch alongs are finished, and if I still like it, then I'll go ahead and buy it. So I'm not getting caught up in that FOMO. The Deadly Aquarium, here's what it looked like the last time that you saw it. I am stitching this on a 32 count lugana in the color Neptune by Under the Sea Fabrics. I think it's Neptune. Yes, Neptune. And this got 3 days with 2,125 stitches. So here's what it looks like now. So I came in here. I wanted to finish the rest of, oh my gosh, this is so, because it's a landscape. So like from here over, I wanted to finish that. It just didn't end up happening. I ran out of time, but I put the back stitch in these shells down here. I haven't done the back stitch up here yet. I finished off these little jellyfish, and then yeah, all this coral, all of this space. This is a squid of some kind, but yeah, I was hoping to finish like basically all of this side, so then it's like that final panel, but I didn't get there, but I will. So I really do like this piece. This is all the called for DMC. I did change out the fabric to that Neptune by Under the Sea Fabrics, and I am not doing all of the backstitch because I was doing some of it and it was completely lost. Like you couldn't tell, and it's not fun backstitch. So to me, I'm not doing it if it doesn't help enhance the piece in any way. But I will if it does. So that's why some of it has the called for backstitch and some of it doesn't. It just depends on basically what I'm feeling or if I think it's going to show up or not. Okay. So that's everything that I worked on for November. If that's all you want, if that's the only reason you're here is to see the updates, thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked the video and come back for more. If you're interested in some plans and a little bit of haul, please stick around. That'd be great. So, plans. The final WIPGO numbers didn't need to be called, but they are number 1, number 13, and number 25. For me, number 1 is Alternative Reality for 600 stitches. So that will get its 2,000 that it's called for the month, plus the 600. Then 13 was a free space for me, so no call there. And number 25 was Long Dog Sampler for 2,000 stitches. So that is my You Belong to Me. That will get 2,000 stitches. As for the rest, I am going on vacation, and it is a vacation that will not be conducive to stitching. So I am probably going to I'll bring stuff because there will be some downtime, but just not a huge amount. I'll bring probably the Pirate, because that's kind of close to a finish, and that's small and easy, 32 count, very easy to see. So I'll probably bring that, and then my Empyrean Sal by Forbidden Fiber Co. I'll bring that as well, because again, small, it goes in a smaller Q-snap. It's not a ton of threads, so very easy to use. Very easy to travel with, I should say, and don't need like Lowry stands and all of that stuff. And then whatever time I have left before I leave, definitely will get Alternative Reality done. And then Long Dog Sampler, and if I have time to do anything else, I'll just stitch on what I stitch. Because of my travel plans, I probably won't do a December update on the 1st of January. I may just go into my WIP parade from there, because it makes no sense to do a full Flosstube episode for what may end up being 3 or 4 projects. So I will probably just do a WIP parade on January 1st or 2nd, depending on my schedule. And then I will also at that point, I need to figure out what my plans are for 2026. I do like the work on a piece monthly to see a finish by the end of the year. So what I may do is on January 1st or whatever, have a look, because that'll kind of be everything is up to date, my Long Dog Sampler, etc. As up to date as possible to go, okay, divide these remaining stitches by 12. What is that per month, to look at a kind of manageable amount. The other thing I want to look at is what are my oldest projects. Alternative Reality is my oldest project. There's no way I can finish that by next year. I think it would, right now it would be like 4,500 stitches a month. And I feel like that would burn me out. While I could do that, I do feel like it would burn me out, because sometimes the 2,000 stitches will burn me out, because I may be in a really heavy confetti section. And if I'm only getting 200 stitches a day because of that confetti, it just demotivates me a little bit. So that's not going to be in the running for a focus on a finish. My Long Dog Sampler it is my next oldest piece in my list. And that I do think is at a manageable place right now, especially once I get the 2,000 for this month. I think that would be about 2,000 stitches a month, which for a long dog is very easy. It's on 40 count. So it's one color, so you're just flying through. It's one solid color. I'm not doing a variegation, so there's no need, there's no need for that additional element of concentration to make sure the variegation works. It's one solid color, so very easy to work. So that's a contender. But we'll also see, there may just be a piece that I really want finished, so it could jump the queue and come ahead of that. I am doing WIPGO again for 2026. I really like WIPGO. It just takes a little bit of that decision fatigue out, at least for 2 projects. So that will be continued next year. And then I'm just going to start things that I want to start. I'm down to about 12 WIPs, I think now, which is a really good number. For me, it's a number where I feel comfortable introducing more pieces. I'm not at my peak of, okay, no more. I would like to introduce a few more, because I do tend to work on about 7 or 8 pieces each month. So it gives a little bit more variety for me if I have some more projects. So those are my plans for December and probably leading into January. Now for a haul, I have 1 piece of haul. I need to stop doing this, and I think this is my second to last. But Forbidden Fiber Co. and their little kits that they come out with. The Court of Thorns and Roses quartz I have now purchased, I think no, not all of them, but I will end up buying them all. Night Court is on its way at some point. I have purchased that, but I also then had to buy the K-Pop Demon Hunters one. So this is the K-Pop Demon Hunters kit. So this is the bag that you get, the Saja Boys. And then it comes with everything you need. So here is the pattern. And then it comes with the floss, which are fun colors, and a needle minder. Yeah, let's put you right side up. So here's the needle minder. And then the colors that it comes with. So you've got Purple Rain, highlighter, which does look like highlighter yellow, bubblegum, it says Color Splash, and there is, I don't know if you can really tell, it's a very faint, kind of if you think of what people used to, back in the day when they would like knit something for a baby if you didn't know the gender, and it would have those like faint speckles of like green and orange, and I shouldn't say orange, green, blue, pink, yellow, you know, that's kind of what this reminds me of. Pacific, which is a very beautiful blue. And then this cool variegated one, which is called Stained Glass Window, which is like a mix of all of those colors, of those previous colors that we had. How cool is that? So that is the floss, the needle minder, and then the fabric is just blackboard, so a kind of grey black. I got the 28 count Lugana because she doesn't do 32 count, unfortunately, and there wasn't a 25 count option. So I'll probably, I don't know what I'll do. I don't love using 28 count. I feel like it just eats floss. So I may, if I do use it for this pattern or something else, I may just do a 1/1 versus 2/1. 2/2, I mean. So that is my haul. I did also purchase one digital pattern, which I will pop up on the screen. It is by Needle Designs. It is the Mythical Beasts piece. It was a sale that was previously on her Patreon. Again, I wait till the sale is finished, and I purchased that. So I was watching Adelaide Stitches. She's working on this at the moment on this beautiful, like moody gray modeled opalescent fabric, and I really liked it. I first saw the pattern on Becca is Stitching's YouTube, Flosstube, and I was like, yep, I want to get that. And then when I saw it on Adelaide Stitches on the fabric that she chose, I was like, yes, I definitely have to get that. So I purchased that, and we'll work on that at some point. I do want to get a moody gray opalescent fabric for it. So we'll wait and see from there what I do. So that is everything. Thank you so much, everybody, for sticking around again and watching. For those who watched till the end, I hope you have a great month ahead. I will not see everybody before then, but for those of you who celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, and I hope you all enjoy the time to come. Thanks. Bye.